Hello and welcome to IQX online training sessions. Today we've got another systems administrator session. We're going to be looking at questionnaires. Questionnaires can easily be maintained by yourself simply by adding and editing your questions, and they're what makes IQX customizable to your agency. So you don't have to have different questions as somebody in a different sector. If you have more than one sector, you can have different questions across the sector using our departmental questions, as well as having questions that apply to everyone. So the first thing to work out is whether your question that you want to look at is a department question or is it a standard question. I'm going to look at people, but it works the same for your companies and contacts. So the principles can be applied across the board. As you can see in the top right hand section here, I have registered departments, and this lists which department I'm looking at. I can switch between the two, so I've got social services and I've got nursing, and it displays the relevant answers. So if it's between the words registered departments and person questionnaire, then it's a departmental questionnaire, and that can be found under maintenance, agency setup, departments, set the department, and press applicant to open the add-ons. If it's something that's below questionnaire, then this means person questionnaire. This means it's a standard person questionnaire and applies across the board, and that can be found under maintenance, questionnaires, applicant or candidate questionnaire. Now that we're in here, we'll have a look at the various different options you've got, and then I'll give you an example of adding the questions. So the sort order, first of all, is the order they appear on the candidate's record. You can rearrange this sort order and rearrange the questions into a suitable order for you. The following one is question ID, and this is a maximum of 3 characters and must be unique for the question. If you try and add a question, the ID's already been used, you'll get a message advising you that it's been used already. Then we have the question description, and this is what the user will see within IQX, or if you do use your IQX website, it's what the candidate sees on their online portal. This can be changed at any point. So for example, if legislation changes and it goes from one acronym to another, you can just come in and update the acronym and your existing answers will remain, but then the wording's up to date for what's happening. Then we have type. You've got a number of different types. If you press the help button down here, it opens a little pop-up window that tells you a little bit more about the different types. Whether you want a heading, such as this clearance one here, so that I can group all my questions with clearance relations underneath one heading, or I can have a numeric one, so that's numbers. In the examples here, we've got number of employees or salary required, dates, self-explanatory. We've got text. This can be entered for anything that you can have there, but be aware that if when you're searching, people might use one acronym for something and somebody else might use something else, or typing mistakes come in. So text questions can be a little bit difficult to search on if not everyone is writing the same thing. Then we've got uppercase text for codes and qualifications, single selection where the user can only choose one of the options, generally used for yes, no answers, or if the outcome can only be one thing. Multiple selection is where you can choose more than one choice. And then we've also got graded selection, ideal for things such as further education. Your sub-choices are honours, third, 2-2, 2-1, etc. And you give the highest value to the best sub-choice and then work that way, and you can look at it there. Or you've got scored selections, which are your, for example, years of experience, where you're maybe doing things over a range. So if you're ever not sure what type of question you want to add in, you can just press the help button and this will pop up. Minimum step size, and for your scored selections, if you wanted it to go up 1 year at a time in your units, you'd pop that in there. Required, if this is ticked, then it means that the question must be answered before people. But note that if you turn a question that wasn't previously required into a required question, this means that next time you go into a candidate's record where they don't have that and answer something in the questionnaire, you will be prompted to answer the required question. Again, information available on this within the Help button. It determines where the question appears and on which tab. So if it's at a 0, it appears in the questionnaire on the top right-hand section and on the questionnaire tab. But if you have it set to 1, it won't appear up here in the top right, it'll only appear in the questionnaire tab. This can be quite useful if you want to keep all your really important ones that you need to be able to see at a glance here, and then the more detailed questions over the tab. We also have different groupings that allow things through the payroll tab, or if you have the compliance view set on, the various different views within there. Equally, we can have the ability to set a question that must be answered when registration is taking place, but then it can't be searched on. For example, equal opportunities. You need to record that information, but it certainly should be used for filling in positions, so you can make it not searchable. So coming back to our questionnaire here, our next column along is audit. This means if it's ticked, any question, any changes to the answers will be audited. So you can see who made the change and when. We then have web publish and web view, and this is for questions that are going up to the portal for those of you that use IQX Web, whether you want to be able to candidate just to see the question or whether you want them to be able to answer it as well. Got search hide, so hidden from the search. Heading collapse, if you've got a lot of options underneath it, you might want the heading collapsed as standard so that you have to click on the plus to see them. And then expiry lead and expiry behaviour over here for if you're using an expiry date question. These only apply to date questions. So if I try to add something in there, it's not a date question, it's just not going to let me. And it's really good if you have got things such as visas, DBS, qualifications that need to be renewed, to get into the habit of using the expiry lead and expiry behaviour, because then you can monitor that within your temp desk on your expiry dates. So that's the basic options that you have. We're going to just add a question to show you how easy it is, and you just simply use the add button at the top. I want this to appear quite near the top, so I'm going to give it a sort order of 11. Give it a name, choose it. Going to go single selection and my answer is going to be yes or no. Don't want it to be required, my grouping is just 0, but I do want it to be audited. Since I've made it single selection, I want to choose my options underneath, so I'm just going to press add to add some choices. My SSS question has now popped up to the top, showing it here. Your choice ID needs to be unique within the choices, but does not need to be unique within other questions. So you can, if you've got a lot of yes/no questions, you can have all their IDs as Ys and Ns so that you know what's happening. So once you've done that, I'm just going to come up and use one of my favourite key features within IQX, the recent records. I can just bring up the record that I was in, and we'll see that my test question has now appeared on the top here, and I can do yes or no. If you've added a question that you didn't mean to add or you need rid of it, you can delete the question, but note it will warn you that there are answers. Generally, if you have answers to a question, you probably don't want to be deleting them. You might want to speak to us in support and we can arrange for those answers to be moved to another question, but since this was just a test, I'm going to say yes. And then update, it's still there, but if I go out, come back in again, we'll see that it's disappeared from there. Other helpful features within the questionnaires are the font colour. So if you have things such as date cleared, date re-cleared that you want to stand out in a different colour, just do it on my driving licence one. I choose a font colour, I'm going to make it red, say OK, and I update. I close that down, come back into it, and we'll see that that's now got a red font colour. So if you do want certain questions to be grouped together by colour, and you're on one of our newer versions, you can use the font colour. We also have the ability to redo the sort order. So if you've been adding lots of questions and you didn't leave a big enough space at the start and they've all got a bit close together, you can redo the order and it'll change the sort order for you to space them out a little bit more and give you some more information there. So those are the basics of adding questions and identifying where you need to add them. I showed you that in the standard questionnaire, but the process is exactly the same if you do it in a questionnaire. Your add buttons are all in the same place with your save and close down the bottom. Once you have created a question, it will automatically create a search criteria for you. So if you're doing person ones, you come into your selector. Department ones are under your department questionnaire and other person ones are under person questionnaire. So your department questionnaire appears at the top here and then your person questionnaire. So you don't need to create a search criteria. As soon as you've created a question, it becomes a searchable criteria for you within the search tab. Hope that's all been helpful for you. And if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us on the support desk. Thank you.